connection. Let's see.
So while we're waiting, I'm just going to say this is our first one of these. To everybody who's joined, thank you so, so much. We're sort of learning as we go, creating as we go. We're pivoting like everybody else in the in this industry and all other industries. And we're just so grateful that you're here with us today. Yeah, that's it for right now.
It's all right. We can start if people, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna just relocate because I'm gonna let my computer do its thing and then. Okay, so I think I'll just jump in. So thanks everyone for joining us. I see some people on here that I haven't seen in a really long time, which is really fun. Katie Baumtrog is for me. So she is my shamanic energy healer. She is my tapping practitioner. She takes me to all the places that I sometimes don't want to go and we get it done anyway. And in the end, it's always great. And I'm so thankful and grateful for the relationship that we've built and the healing work that we've done together. And I'm always on the search for not only healing trauma in myself and uncovering, you know, what's next, but also it's so important to me to have and give trusting resources to the people in our practice. So when I can see this brain mode and the stress mode show up in people on the table, sometimes you can just see the writing on the wall. I don't even have to test for it. But then when we test for it and we see that that's there, what we're looking for are strategies to not just here, let's test you for this set of supplements that can handle the stress on the body, but more importantly, let's help you transform whatever the conversation is, whatever the trauma you're facing, whatever that stress is that you're dealing with, and give you techniques to do that, some of which you can then do at home on your own. And tapping is one of those things that has worked so well for me and so well for members of my family. I mean, I remember sitting next to my husband with his first over in like 35 minutes thinking like, I think I just watched 7 years leave that guy's chest. It was amazing to watch. My kids have worked with Katie. So she's a wealth of information, and I myself, you know, sharing or educating on a topic or really just kind of engaging in a dialogue with, you know, whoever wants.
Hey, Nicole. Can you turn off your video? Can you turn off your video? It's stopping and we're missing part of what you're saying. And I think it'll come through completely on audio only. And then you can come back on after you're done talking. If that works for you. Oh my God, I broke her internet.
Nikki, you're on mute.
So when I when I try to do anything with it, it mutes me. I think with the freezing up, I think this is universal at the moment because we've been having trouble both at home here and at the office for the last few days with internet altogether. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, okay. So Katie, do you want to actually, there's one more thing I wanted to say about just the emotional stress. We've just been talking to people about, you know, how are you feeling? And grief seems to be a conversation that's coming up in the office, not just like, oh, I'm so stressed, my kids are home, my job is different and all of that, but there's just this sense of like unsettledness and uncertainty, anxiety, grief has been a conversation. So I know one thing we'll do here, Katie, is kind of just, no pun intended, but tap into people and get their feedback, on what they're dealing with. And then we'll actually do a tapping session and try to shift some of that energy for the collective.
Okay, sorry, I was distracted trying to get other people on here, but I'm just gonna trust. They'll figure it out.
Well, and it's recorded, so we'll be able to send that out.
Yeah. So I am excited and like just want to start out by saying how grateful I am to be here. Like this is what I love doing. I love helping people mentally, emotionally, and spiritually to work through whatever's showing up for them. And this is a huge time for us, right? Like this is an unprecedented time of change, of unknown, of fears, of anxiety. And my goal is to educate people on tools that can help you honor, process, and release these things, because we know scientifically that when we repress these things, it creates disease in the body, right? So obviously if you're working with Nikki, that's like what you're trying to overcome, right? Is like you're trying to get your body back, your health back. So the mental, emotional component, the energetic component is just a huge part of this too. So what I wanted to do was to just like acknowledge, obviously, that it's okay to have whatever feelings that you're having, and to show you one of my favorite tools called emotional freedom technique, which is proven scientifically to help with PTSD, with anxiety, with depression, with trauma, with lowering cortisol levels, which again, if you're working with Nikki, you know, when you're stressed out, your body is pumping cortisol and adrenaline, and we can't heal in that state. So if we're really working hard to keep our immune system strong, if you have this fear of this virus, like we want to keep our mental, emotional states are just as important as the physical, and they affect it. So what I wanted to do was to just, I mean, I've been obviously listening to people and hearing what people's fears and worries are, but I'd love if you wanted to just like quickly introduce yourself, and if you feel called, if you're, you know, brave enough or want to share any like emotion that's really coming up for you that you're having a hard time with. Maybe it's, you know, just fear of unknowns right now, like fear of your job security, fear of getting a virus or your family members. I've talked to a lot of people that are feeling isolated, right? Like they can't hug people they love, or they don't get to go see their coworkers. People that don't have jobs, that are scared how they're going to pay their bills. So there's a lot out there, but I'd like to just collectively see what people are feeling here. And then I invite you to just ask like where you feel in the body, and then we get to start to work through all of this. So if we have time quickly to just kind of, if anybody wants to share how they're feeling, and then we'll do, I'll show you how tapping works and how we can use this tool to effectively release what's showing up for us. Anybody wants to go?
So Elaine, do you want to unmute everybody just for a minute?
The emotional cycle people go through, where it's like anger, resentment, grief, like whatever emotions, like breakups and stuff.
Hi, Lauren.
Right. I don't know if it's just that or what the deal is, but I feel like a lot of grief today.
Grief?
Because it's like I just can't, I don't know, like it's just weird. And James was reaching out, and then I was ignoring him, and then I was feeling really good and kind of like, fuck you, whatever. And I sent him a text that was not nice, but everybody that, like my mom and my roommate were like, good for you. Like, yeah, fuck him. And what I said is not that bad.
Lauren, you're feeling just like upset with your own, she's got a circumstance with the ex kind of boyfriend or whatever. Okay.
To it, but that was it. It wasn't like a super bad message or anything, because I got a paycheck. I also pretty much like don't have a job anymore. I'm with Four Winds, still working for them, but they are doing financial loss really badly, I guess, and so they just kind of liquidated the position that I had. And so I still can like have money with them, but it's like commission only. But before they let me know that, it was just like, you don't have a job anymore, until I got to speak with Alberto. So then I got a check from the yoga studio, and it went to James's mom's house, and I asked them to cancel the check, and they said they would. And then James texted me, and he's like, I got this in the mail, give me your address, and I'll forward it to you. And I was just kind of sending this like, fuck you thing back. And then he blocked the number, and he like blocked me. And I don't
So Lauren, if you were to, because we're just going to be on this for a half hour, if you were to tell us, like, because we've got like, I don't, how many people are on here, 10 or so?
Yeah.
How would you sum up, Lauren? Like, so you say, so that we can get to everybody, because I want to, you and I can talk after this, Lauren. Like, so grief is one of the things you're feeling, obviously financial worries.
And mail it back to me, and I'll send it to you. And I'm like, okay. Then I can't get a hold of James.
Can she hear me or no?
I don't know.
Lauren?
And he's still following me on social media, But
You know what? Maybe she's not actually on our call and she probably got into Zoom but doesn't realize it. And I'm kind of thinking that's what's happening. So we can mute her. Can
Elaine, will you?
She's muted. Do you want me to do anything else?
No,
but
I think I heard.
I think she didn't realize she's on. So I think she's sharing her story, which you can tell. Like people are going through a lot right now, right?
Yeah. But like
So
I heard three things over and over. I heard resentment, which you could see coming up over and over for people right now around like, well, wait, I was doing this work and now I'm not doing this work. Or like, I like having my kids home. I don't like having my kids home. I hate working from home. I love working from home. And like just all of that comes up. And then I think it's a good pool to bring up all this old crap for lots of people too. So resentment, grief, and anxiety were the three that I heard in her. And I think that's probably something most people can relate with.
Yeah. So if anybody else wants to share, just like, again, we're kind of looking for something brief because we don't have a lot of time on the call today, but just to share like any emotion that you feel, and then, pattern.
I feel worried for the kids who counted on school for like safety and food. And we're in the process of becoming foster parents. And so just hearing the stories of so many children, like prior to going into the system of the state, I just feel like that's got to be totally jumping in numbers right now with these families and these kiddos that are home now with parents who aren't able to care for them properly. Like I feel so sad and kind of worried for that population of children and families who are just, whatever, suicidal or getting abused or any of that kind of stuff. I just feel like that's just really weighing on my soul.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm so glad you said that, because that was one of the things that I realized I had a concern about too, was like domestic abuse, just the like you not knowing what goes on behind closed doors.
Totally.
And can't speak up and don't have the power or aren't using their power, or are too young to use their power, to communicate that they need help. Like that definitely is a thought hanging over me.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Is there anybody else that wants to share?
Yeah, this is Jim. I have no kids home. I don't have a body work business because nobody's coming over at the moment. I'm still getting paid by the 2020 census until this Friday, part-time, so that works. And it's an opportunity to tackle these huge projects that are all put out in the future called Someday. Someday's right up in my face now. So I'm doing a lot of physical labor inside and outside of the house. And, the biggest thing for me is a denial that I'm actually in the most vulnerable area because of my age. So I still think like a 20-year-old, 12-year-old, according to my wife, but
Oh dear, Lisa.
yeah. So anyway, that's all. There was a seminar about uncertainty, and I thought that people that thought about uncertainty and dwelt on it were crazy. And then taking the seminar, it's useful to deal with it instead of ignoring it and putting it somewhere else. Deal with it face on, and then take action appropriate to what's needed to be done next, and not worry about uncertainty popping up and hijacking your brain and your life.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing, Jim.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? And that's okay, because we can go from here, because
I could just say, I think that fear is the biggest thing, and fear of sort of how this is all going to play out.
Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm wondering, anything else you want to say, Amanda? No. Okay. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm wondering, has anyone ever tried tapping before or used like energy psychology techniques like this? Yeah. So the way it's most effective, like we're going to do a generalized one right now, and I'm going to try to put in every like little phrase that you guys all shared. But you want to get really specific. So the way this works best is for you to write down your own feelings, where you feel them in the body, and then to create your own tapping scripts from that. And honestly, people make tapping out to be a lot harder than it needs to be. I'm going to show you really briefly here where the points are on the body. And honestly, once you're feeling emotional, like if you're in fear, you don't have to like craft this whole fancy statement and be like, I don't know what to say. If you're feeling the emotion, it's right there ready to be healed and acknowledged. And all you need to do is start tapping on these acupressure points, and you're going to honor and release this charge that's stuck in the body, that's blocking what's called like our meridian pathways. You know, an acupuncturist will put needles in the body to help release these in a different way, but we're doing this with emotions. So it doesn't matter, even if I'm saying different things, if you're in your own emotional state and you just start tapping, you don't even have to talk, it's going to be beneficial for you. So what I would invite you to do is just, you know, some people have shared with us how they're feeling. Pick one of those things. You can follow along with my script, but I want you to pick like, okay, I'm really feeling grief, and I want you to figure out where you feel it in your body. If it's in your chest or your throat, realize there's nothing wrong with your throat. It's just where the energy is stuck. So we're going to do like a couple rounds here with tapping. And you guys can close your eyes if you want to. I'm just going to show you how I tap, and this is very brief, short amount of time, but I normally do start with a setup phrase with people, and it's something like this. It's like we're just acknowledging how we're feeling. So if you tap on the side of your wrist like this, we're sending a message. You know, I'm not going to go through all the science, but scientifically we're sending a message to your brain that you don't need to go into fight or flight. And it's a safe time to process and release what's going on in your brain right now. So we're rewiring the brain essentially and getting you back into your parasympathetic, which is where we want you to be. So setup phrase would look something like this, like, even though I'm feeling all this grief, you know, I choose to believe that I'm safe and I'm okay and I'm going to get through this. Whatever encouraging statement you want to say to yourself, just like you would if it was a child, right? Like what would your inner child want to hear? So I'm just going to kind of do an example here, you know, and follow along with me just so you can see the point. So we'll do a setup phrase. It'll be right on the wrist here. We'll just do this once or twice, and then we'll go right to the inner eye. This is the first point on the body. And then we would just do a reminder phrase like all this grief. And we go to the outer eye, which is on the side of the eye here. And then we go under the eye, and we're going to tap under the nose, tap underneath the lips. Collarbone is one of my favorite points. It's so calming. If you're ever feeling anxious or nervous or stuck in any emotion, just start tapping underneath your collarbone here, and with both hands is awesome. You can tap as fast as you want. Like if you really need to tap hard, do it. If you need a lighter tap, if you need a massage, they all work the same. Do what feels right for you. This is a very intuitive based system. Then we go underneath the armpit, so like where the bra line would be. It might be a sore spot for you. So we're going directly into the armpit, and then I do another point, which is like you can see here, it's right underneath the chest, so it's on the rib cage. Be like right underneath the nipple, honestly, it would be that point. And then I call this my dolphin clapping point. This is the wrist, and then we go top of the head, and another one that I love to end on is back of the head. So we're just going to do a full round and see what we can clear. But honestly, what you do with tapping is you just keep tapping until you release whatever is stuck inside of you, the feeling, the emotion. It just needs time. Emotion, if you look up the definition, is energy in motion, people. That's the definition. So when we repress it, which most of us do, right? Like we hold on to the anxiety, the grief, whatever, that emotion gets stuck in the body, our body cannot function properly and we do not thrive, okay? So we're trying to release this and just honor it. It doesn't matter what the feeling is. So again, you can follow along with me, or you can tune into your own feelings, whatever feels right for you. I'm going to see if I can get some music on here as I'm tapping. And can you hear the music okay? And can you hear me over it?
I can hear you, but not the music.
Okay.
I can't hear the music either.
Can you hear the music at all or no?
Mm-mm.
No.
That's okay. So let's try this. So we're going to start the side of the wrist here. And I'm just going to go for this, okay? So closing your eyes, I invite you to take a deep breath in, everybody. Inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth. Doing another deep breath as you're tapping on the side of your wrist. In your nose, out your mouth. And you can repeat out loud if you want to, or you can just listen to me. And if you're going to repeat out loud, maybe do it quietly so people can hear me. Or I think you're all muted, so you're fine actually. Even though I'm feeling so uncertain right now, these are the most unusual times. I can't leave my house. Maybe I don't have a job right now. I'm scared for kids. I'm scared for society. I'm scared I could get this virus. I have so much fear in my body. I choose to believe that I'm safe and I'm okay and I'm going to get through this. And so will we all. Again, tapping on the side of the wrist, even though I'm feeling vulnerable because I could get sick. You know, I'm elderly and I'm worried for other kids. I'm worried that kids could get sick. I'm worried that kids are not being treated well right now, that they aren't getting the food, the support, the safety that they need. Even though I'm scared that I, don't have a job right now and my financial system, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pay my bills. I choose to believe and trust that I will work through this, that we will all come out through this okay and better, and that we are all safe, and that it's okay for me to have all of these feelings and to let go of them now. So then we're going to go to the inner eye. All this uncertainty. I'm so scared. Side of the eye, all this uncertainty. My world just changed in a month. The whole world changed. Underneath the eye. And I'm scared. And I'm grieving. And I'm sad. Under the nose. I have no idea what's going to happen in the future. And I'm scared for my family, for other kids. I'm scared for people that are vulnerable. I'm scared for my own health. I have all this fear. Under the lips. And I choose to believe it's okay that I have these feelings. And that it's time for me to face them, to honor them and release them. Because they are not serving me to stay stuck in them. Under the collarbone. All this uncertainty, all this grief, all this anxiety stuck in my body. I see you, grief. I see you, anxiety, and I'm so sorry. These are scary, unknown times. I just want to remind you, body and mind, that you're safe and you're okay. And that the only thing I can do is learn how to be honest with how I'm feeling and let it go. Under the arm. It's okay for me to feel these feelings. It's okay for me to feel this sadness in my soul, this anxiety in my fill in the blank, this grief. It's okay to have all of these feelings. I choose to love myself. We'll go to the rib cage. I choose to be kind to myself in these uncertain times. And I choose to have faith in something higher, something bigger that will get me through this. I choose to trust instead of living in fear and anxiety and grief. I'll Go to the dolphin clap. All these feelings in my body. I see you, I hear you, I feel you. I honor you. And I let you know that it's safe now for you to be seen and heard and to be let go of. It's time now I remind myself that I'm safe and I'm okay, that the world is safe and it will be okay, that we will get through this. And it's time for me to go inside and to heal all that's showing up. That's what this is all about. It's healing our wounds. It's going inside ourselves. Because this fear is triggered something way deeper than just what's going on right now. Now is the time for me to heal all of this. It's a beautiful time, actually. We'll look back at this and say, what a beautiful time this was. That we got the ability to change and to heal all of humanity. And I want to believe that beautiful things are going to happen as a result of this. Top of the head. And right now, maybe there's a voice inside me that says, what is there beautiful about this? People are stuck at home losing jobs and people are getting sick and dying. I can't even think that way. That's okay if that voice comes in. It's okay to have whatever voices are showing up. Do not resist them anymore. Say, I will not resist those voices. I will listen to them. They just want to be heard. And as I tap, I'm hearing these voices and allowing them to just be heard and seen, because that's all we want, to be heard and seen. And same with these emotions and feelings. When we resist them, they get bigger. So it's time to just allow them and let them go. I choose to allow all my feelings. I choose to find safety within myself. Back of the head. I choose to love myself despite whatever's going on in my external. I choose to find a happy, beautiful place and to visit it often. Maybe imagine where your favorite place is. If it's a cabin, maybe it's being on the lake. I want you to go there now. Just imagine as you're tapping. What does that feel like in that beautiful place, if you can? It's okay if your body's still resisting or fighting, if you're still stuck in the emotion, stay on that emotion. But if you're ready, I invite you, just go to the ocean. What does it feel like to have the warmth of the sun on your face? The feet underneath you, grounded into the earth on the sand. What does it feel like to be connected to something so much bigger? To be connected to love versus fear? Just, you can even stop tapping it. Just go there for a little bit. I want you to try to bring that sun on your face and throughout all of your cells and realize how healing the sun is. That you are one with everything. And that fear is just fear. Grief is just grief. It's a part of the human experience, and it's okay for you to experience all of that. But the most beautiful thing is beyond the grief, beyond the anxiety, beyond the fear is just love. It's just the present moment. And if we can tap into this and put our attention on this, this is what will heal us all. So I invite you to go back to the inner eye if you want. And if you're feeling any remaining anxiety, grief, tightness, or whatever, just keep tapping through the points one more time. So we'll go inner eye, side of the eye. Just breathing and tapping and tuning into your body, tuning into any tightness that's remaining, any tension, any sadness. Going under the eye and just be with it. No more running. And if you're already tuned into love, I want you to just tap into love now. Tap into peace. Tap into faith, hope. See what that feels like for your body. Wherever you are, and that's okay. Just keep tapping under the nose now. Closing your eyes, letting go of the external. Letting go of all the things that keep our monkey mind busy. And just tuning back into ourselves, our center. Go under the mouth. And the collarbone. And pick a phrase you want to say to yourself now. Not something I'm saying. What do you want to tell yourself? I'm safe. I'm loved. My mom is safe. It's going to be okay. The world's going to be okay. Pick a phrase and just tap and keep tapping on the points going out under your arm and pick that phrase like the world is going to be okay. Whatever resonates with you. We're going to get through this. I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm loved. I'm supported. Pick a phrase. And then you can go to your rib cage. And top of the head. And I want you to just take a deep breath. Deep, deep breath. Come back when you're ready. How's everybody doing? Anybody want to share anything? I don't expect that to be a miracle. It's just kind of a introduction.
Very emotional. Not sure if you heard that.
No.
She said very emotional.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can always feel, I notice this when I do Psyche sessions with people too. It's like, for me, that first relief, and oftentimes it's like happening, you know, when I'm doing the side tapping is just like this insane, yummy, juicy breath. You know, it's just like, it's so deep and it's like, oh, well, I haven't taken a breath for the last 18 hours, you know, and then it just keeps happening over and over again, no matter where we are in the tapping process. It's so grounding. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Tony, what did you say?
Very emotional.
Yeah.
Fearfully emotional.
And are you still feeling it in the body right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
I feel good. I mean, it's like a good emotion. It
okay.
didn't start that way, but towards the end, when you're, you know, saying to create your own phrase or your own saying.
Yeah.
And I was thought about this the last couple of nights, that this is like our destiny, and it's how we react to it, and almost, you know, God's giving us another chance to open our eyes and our minds and our hearts on how greedy we can be, how selfish people can be, things like that, and to really sit and think about that, and maybe rebirth yourself or something where you're, you know, not in that category if you were at any point and level, but just to, you know, look for the good and be there for everybody. And anyways, it's my destiny, and you have to choose how you want to move forward with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else want to share anything? It's okay if you don't. If you're still feeling something, like with tapping, I'd say like most of the time when I'm start with people, like we do an hour to 2 hour session. Like there's a lot, there's layers, because guess what? This fear about a virus, guess what? It brings up stuff from your past. Let's say if you lost somebody due to an illness and you're scared and you haven't healed that original trauma, this is bringing up that trauma that's ready to be healed. So for me, I'm a very spiritual person, and I'm believing this is a beautiful time in history for us to heal all of this stuff that we have not healed, that we keep passing down from generation to generation, their beliefs, their dysfunctions. And So like I was just tapping with someone earlier this morning, and she's like trying to control everything. And then it's like, okay, when's the first time? That's how you'd go deeper with tapping. It's like, when's the first time you felt not safe? Can you remember when is the first time you felt like you needed to control things? And it'll bring you back. Your brain, if you're tapping, you're signaling your brain that you're safe. Now memories start to come online for you that have been buried deep in your subconscious, and it allows you to go deeper in the healing process. And that is what I call like yummy, beautiful work, because we get to go and we get to heal like, oh, this, I used to get spanked by my dad and I didn't feel safe every time my dad would come around. And then we heal that. And then it's like, you feel different because your body feels lighter. And then when you bring up that memory, you don't have an emotional charge in the body. There's tons of books on this, like Your Body Keeps the Score, or Peter Levine, like somatic work. I mean, there's tons of science around this, that our body remembers this stuff. So when you don't feel that emotional charge in you anymore, you've cleared it. We can muscle test for it, and Nikki can do Psych K with it too, but you create beliefs in these time frames, right? So I'm not safe is something you could use like with Psych K. I use AIT to kind of change that belief, but you got to release it first. And that's why I love tapping, is to honor, like, gosh, all the times and ways I didn't feel safe. And so this is really bringing up stuff below it. It's like an onion, Does that resonate with anybody?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, so no, this is a really easy tool you can use, but get more specific. Like, that's why it's hard to do, we'll end in 1 second here. That's why it was hard to do, like a group tapping, but we can tap into the collective fears and worries. But I invite you to go back, and whatever you're feeling, if you're still feeling something stuck in your heart or your chest, write everything down, journal it. And then I think some of the most effective tapping is go in the mirror right now and just continue to talk to yourself. Or if you have a friend on this video here, or obviously I'm here to work with people, same with Nikki, just keep working on whatever's showing up for you, and you'll start to heal it, and you'll feel a lot better.
How is there how many times does it matter how many times you tap a day? Is there any, is it just however you're feeling and you feel like you need to do that?
Yeah, like I like tapping for acute tapping. So when you're really in the emotional charge, it helps calm down the system, but that only gets you so far. Then I like to go into those like preventative sessions, and that's when you can work to figure out when is the first time I felt this way, right? And like, oh, it's when I was a kid. That's why working with a practitioner or a friend or someone that can ask you these questions to dive deeper with you to really heal the real, what I call original wounds. And some people believe that they're original wounds of this lifetime. People believe it in past lifetimes. It's whatever your belief is, but there's an original wound that we need to heal, and that's why this pattern keeps coming up for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks everyone for joining.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any questions, my name's Katie. My business is called The Healing Village. I'm honestly doing like donation only sessions with people right now because I want people to be well. I want people to have these tools, and it's like my gift for humanity. I have a husband that has a salary right now, so I'm super lucky. And so just know that I'm a free resource, and there's tons of other free resources online, and I'm grateful Nikki did this today. So thanks, Nikki.
Yeah, you're welcome. I just want to just let you know too, next week, what we're going to talk about is, I don't know if you're familiar with Dr. Mark Hyman's work, but he's a functional MD, and he recently did a webinar on COVID-19 that was pretty interesting. So I'm actually going to go over some of the notes and share some of what I'm seeing and hear in the practice, and just kind of any insight I can shed on that. So really interesting stuff. That will be the same time. We're going to be here Wednesday, 1 to 1:30, I think, here from here on out. And for those of you who aren't privy yet to this, and Katie, I don't even know if I told you this, but we are starting a book club called The Rising Tribe on Monday nights. Elaine, I can't remember what time, 7 or 8? 8?
8.
Thanks, 8. 8 o'clock. And so we'll start meeting next Monday night via Zoom. You guys can send an email here, info@myhealthybeginning.com, for the details. The book we're going to read is called Women Who Run with the Wolves, by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Really great book. I read it like 24 years ago. I was 20 years old and grabbed it on my way into the Boundary Waters. Changed my life. It's really fantastic, really insightful. So that should give you enough time to get the book. The 13th, we'll gather and just kind of do introduction and discuss, but we will read chapter 1 for the 20th. And you could jump in at any time. It's not like you have to come in and be, in there for the duration, because it's a long book. So join us any Monday night that you want to. Any questions about any of these timeframes, just reach out to us at the office. And Katie, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank
Love
you,
you.
everyone. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Nice to meet you all.
Bye, thanks.